Welcome back, everybody. Welcome into the March 26th nightly recap here on Sports Talk with Hawk. A wild night in the NBA. Playoff positioning was definitely a thing with how today played out. Couple of stars were actually out. Doesn't seem to have bothered some of the teams currently. We're going to get into all that. Plus, tomorrow is opening day of Major League Baseball. I don't follow it all year long. I will be the first one to admit I do not follow it all year long. But I tell you what, opening day is kind of the ushering in of spring. It's exciting, it's fun. Any opening day is a blast. Outside of the NBA, honestly, the NBA's opening day, nobody cares about because it's at the wrong time of the year. If it was in December, guess what? You'd be ushering in winter because we know during the winter you play inside. But nonetheless, plenty to get to, plenty to go over. We are going to start with the NBA slate that took over today. The first game we're going to look at was a game that I felt was actually really, really big. The first two games, The Los Angeles Clippers were at the New York Knicks. And then the second game, the Los Angeles Lakers at the Indiana Pacers. The Pacers came into the night 3 games behind the Knicks for the third spot in the Eastern Conference. So both of these games were absolutely huge. The Clippers came out on top. They moved to a record of 41-31. They won the game 126 to 113. Due in most part from a big third quarter where they scored 40 points and the Knicks scored 29. Kawhi Leonard had 27 points and 10 rebounds, double-double for him. Zubac had 18 points, 10 boards, double-double as well. Harden with 29. Powell with 19. And then off the bench, Derrick Jones Jr. Threw in 12 points as well. Now, for the New York Knicks, remember, last night OG was absolutely on fire. He stayed that way, 11 of 17 from the floor, 28 points. Cat, 11 of 20, 34 points, 14 rebounds. Big game from both of them. But they got absolutely no bench play. None. You got a grand total of 12 points from the bench. 12. Bridges played 40 minutes. Hart played 34. Anunoby played 37. Towns played 39. And on the second day of a back-to-back, that's questionable, but you got no points out of your bench. Your bench really did nothing. Mitchell Robinson, pointless. Landry Shamet was the only one. Let's see, he got 2 of 5 from 3-point range. Precious Achiuwa had 6 points. So really, kind of a letdown for the Knicks. I'm going to blame coaching a little bit on that one. That was not a good handle of the minutes whatsoever, and it gave the Clippers the ability to really just jump out in that third quarter. Fatigue set in through halftime, and they never really got the groove back. So the Clippers win, beat the New York Knicks, which means if the Pacers could have won over the Lakers, they would only be 2 games behind the Knicks for the third spot. Unfortunately, they lost. But this game was absolutely amazing. 120 to 119. Most of this, not going to lie, most of this was because of a second quarter by the Los Angeles Lakers. The Lakers outscored the Pacers 40 to 22 in the second quarter, which forced the Pacers to then come back, and they had the lead. LeBron James had a tip-in. Doncic missed his floater in the lane, but there was no box out, and the Lakers, LeBron James tips it in for the win in Indianapolis. Heartbreaking. They came back, but the reality is you can't. This isn't a way to win. Switch it back, because I know many of you prefer football. So in football, you cannot make a living coming from behind. You can't be truly successful constantly having to get back into the game. That's not how this works. I mean, it's common sense. The Indianapolis Colts of the 2000s with Peyton had this almost down to a capital T, and it was because the defense couldn't stop anybody. The Indiana Pacers have had this issue for a while. Now, these two teams are very evenly matched up. The Pacers are 42-30. The Lakers are 44-28. The game was actually really, really good. Comes down to the last bucket. Everybody wants to see that. We're end of March, beginning of April. This is when basketball really starts to matter. But at the end of the day, LeBron James was 4 of 12. 4 of 12 tonight. 13 points. Doncic, 11 of 21, 34 points. Austin Reeves, 8 of 16, 24 points. James did end up with a double-double with the 13 boards. Then you look at the Pacers. I mean, it was two great shooting nights. 52% for the Lakers, 50% for the Pacers. Siakam, 15 points. Turner, 16 points with 12 boards. He gets a double-double. Halliburton, bad night from behind the arc. 1 of 9 from behind the arc. 16 points, 18 assists. 18 assists. Benedict Mathurin, 23 points off of the bench. Obi Toppin threw in 10. I like this Pacer team. I really do, but I really question whether or not they can stop screwing up the middle of games. I really do. This was a huge night. Getting a victory over the Lakers with a Knicks team that was tired on the second day of a back-to-back. You can gain a game on them and you lose it. You lose it. It can't happen. And this has happened consistently with this Pacers team. They're young, but they're not that young now. They need to be more consistent. And they got to play these top teams a lot better than they do. Because if you remember in the playoffs, that's what killed them. They'd end up getting down and having to come back. And that's not how you win championships. All right, next game. Mostly nobody cared, but hey, Toronto Raptors against the Brooklyn Nets, and this was a shellacking. 116-86. Yes, you heard me right. A 30-point victory for the Toronto Raptors. Orlando Robinson came in with 23 points. RJ Barrett had 15 points. Then off the bench, Jonathan Mogbo had 16 points. The Brooklyn Nets basically had nothing. Nick Claxton, people got to give a lot of props to him. Nick Claxton, 22 points, 11 boards, another double-double, had 5 blocks. 5 blocks. These guys are still trying to play hard. It's just, at this point, it don't look good. It just don't look good. The Raptors moved to 26-47. They're technically still alive to be able to get into the play-in in the Eastern Conference. I hope not, but nonetheless, they're technically still alive. Brooklyn drops this one. Once again, 116-86. Toronto Raptors over the Brooklyn Nets. Another game that most people weren't really watching. Washington Wizards at the Philadelphia 76ers. And the Wizards pull out the W, 119-114. The Wizards scored 45 points in the first quarter. They outscored the Sixers 45-29 in the first quarter and basically just rode that lead the rest of the way through. Alex Sarr, 24.7 boards. Jordan Poole, 18 points, 7 assists. Then you had off the bench Jalen Martin, 12 points, 6 boards. And hey, listen, as long as I've been, watching, I remember a little bit of the Bullets, very minimal. Most of the Washington Wizards is going to be Michael Jordan. Then after that is going to be the Kwame Brown fiasco. After that is going to be really John Wall. Unfortunately, the Wizards just have not ended up being a team that you really want to follow. And I feel sorry for them. But honestly, they haven't really made the moves that you need to make. You got to make certain moves to be competitive, and they have not done it. They just haven't. Now, for the 76ers, obviously, no Embiid, and the team itself is definitely, they're kind of shot right now. Maxey has a sprained right finger. Oubre has a sprained right knee. Lonnie Walker has a neck injury right now. So honestly, not going to jump on him too much. Quentin Grimes, 22 points. Justin Edwards, 19 points, 10 boards, double-double for him. They're trying. They're fighting. They're still playing hard. But both of these teams, the Wizards and the 76ers, are definitely looking to future, looking to the NBA lottery draft. And this is a really good draft, potentially, depending on who decides to go in and who doesn't. I like this draft as far as a rookie draft for the NBA. March Madness has shown these players. I think these players are getting the right type of showcase right now and light on them, which is huge. So Wizards, 76ers, not really looking for playoffs, not really fighting for that. Looking more towards the lottery. Wizards get the W, 119 to 114. Now, a game that just ended here a few minutes ago. The Denver Nuggets knocked off the Milwaukee Bucks. So, here's another one. Playoff. If you're the Nuggets, you're hoping the Pacers knock off the Lakers so that you can gain a little bit of distance between, and a game distance between yourself and the Lakers. If you're the Bucks, you want to have the Lakers beat the Pacers and then you beat the Nuggets so that you can then close the gap on the Pacers for the fourth seed. So third, fourth, and fifth in the Eastern Conference, and then I believe second and fourth and sixth for the Western Conference, all playing just in these games. Playoff seeding is getting interesting. These games, they're playing against other playoff teams, and we're seeing how they match up. Tonight in Denver, now, they did not have Giannis. Okay, that was announced earlier in the day. They did not have Giannis. So the Bucks take the L. 127-117. Wasn't bad though. I mean, I got to give credit where credit's due. Brook Lopez, 26 points, 7 boards. Gary Trent, 16 points. AJ Green, 15 points. Taurean Prince, 15 points. Kuzma, 10 points. They shot the ball 52% from the field. The problem is you're going up against the Nuggets, and the Nuggets shot 54% from the field, and Jokic had a triple-double again. 39 points, 10 assists, 10 boards. Christian Braun had 19 points, 10 rebounds, 6 assists. So not a bad night all around. Michael Porter Jr. threw in 23 points as well. So the Denver Nuggets, the Clippers, and the Los Angeles Lakers all beat the Eastern Conference teams they were playing. Obviously, the Bucks didn't have their number one. I know the Knicks don't have Brunson right now. But that is what it is. That is what it is. It's the NBA. You're not going to have people all the time, but you are shooting for the playoffs. So before we get to the Celtics and the Suns, which are playing right now, let's go to the standings as they stand right now, because we're coming down to the end of the year. So the Cleveland Cavaliers are number one team in the Eastern Conference at 58-14. They're 5 games ahead of Boston right now that are 53-19. Then you've got the Knicks, Pacers, Pistons right now, and the Milwaukee Bucks rounding out the top 6. Now remember, the top 6 automatically make the playoffs. 7 through 10 do the play-in. The Bucks are 5 games behind the Knicks. Pistons are currently 4.5. The Pacers stay at 3 games behind the Knicks. But the records are good. In the past, we've had a lot of these where the records haven't been, even close. This year, the top 6 in the Eastern Conference match the Western Conference. The play-in right now, you got the Atlanta Hawks at 7. They're a half game ahead of the Magic, who are currently 8th. The Bulls are sitting 9th, and the Heat are 10th. Now, I said the Toronto Raptors were kind of in there. They're 5.5 games behind the Miami Heat right now for the 10th slot. Okay, so honestly, they're out of it. Let's just be honest. They're out of it. The playoffs for the Eastern Conference is going to be the 10 teams currently sitting there. And the Miami Heat right now are 4 games behind the Hawks for the 7th position, only 1 game behind the Bulls and 3.5 behind the Magic. So plenty of movement can happen right there in that area. So when you add everything up, so 42 plus 30 is 72. That means the Pacers have 10 games left to play. Every team has between 9 and 12 games left to play, depending on how many they've played to this point. So the season is winding down. If you go on a cold streak and win 3 of your next 10, you go 3-7, it can really affect your playoff positioning. It absolutely matters. Me, obviously, I'm hoping the Pacers can keep going, the Knicks lose some more, and we can jump New York and get that 3rd spot. Especially since, and I'm not making fun, so please understand, I understand the seriousness of the health issue, but basketball is still a business. And business-wise, if you're the Pacers, you want to play the Bucks. You play them really, really well. You've beat them consistently over the last 3 years. Without Damian Lillard, they're a different team. You rather play the Bucks. Get to 3rd, hope that the Bucks are 6th, play the Bucks in the first round of the playoffs, move on. Remember, if you're the 3 seed, you then play the 2 seed. Now that's not great because I don't think anybody's beaten the Celtics in the first round. In a sense, I would rather play the Cavaliers. I think there's a lot lower ceiling to that team as far as playing the top teams. We've seen over the last couple weeks, they don't necessarily match up great. But either way, the top 2 are the Cavaliers and the Boston Celtics. Now, when you drop down to the Western Conference, this is a big gap, and this is why my MVP pick is flat out SGA. SGA is 100% my pick for MVP. The Oklahoma City Thunder are currently 60-12. 60-12. You do realize this is a team that if it wasn't Oklahoma City would be getting a lot of praise for the amount of wins they have. We know they're not going to hit 70 wins. This team could easily hit 65, 67, 68. That's a absolutely amazing year. And they are 13 and a half games in front of second place. Cleveland has a 5-game lead. They are 13 and a half games ahead of the Houston Rockets in second. They can lose every game and they will still be the number 1 seed. That's how good of a year the Oklahoma City Thunder have had. Now, I said it was the Houston Rockets. This is where it gets all clumped. 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th are all clumped together, and this is going to be who's fighting it out. Houston Rockets are a game and a half in front of Denver. The Los Angeles Lakers are a game behind the Nuggets. The Lakers are tied with the Grizzlies, which are also obviously 1 game behind the Nuggets. So the Grizzlies, Lakers, Nuggets, and Rockets are all fighting still for that 2nd spot. From 2nd to 5th is wide open. Now, a team that is being sneaky right now is the Clippers. I think they're going to sneak into the 6th seed, but the 6, 7, and 8 is separated by a half game. Yeah, you heard me right. Half game. Clippers and the Warriors tied. Dead even. 41 and 31. Minnesota Timberwolves have actually played 1 more game, so they are actually 41 and 32. They're a half game behind both of those teams. Then 9, 10, and then 11 is the Dallas Mavericks. Sacramento Kings, Phoenix Suns, Dallas Mavericks are all separated by half a game. Guys, we got 9, 10, 11 games left. And you have got playoff positioning that's separated by 2.5 games between 4 teams, half a game between 3, and half a game between more 3. This is playoff basketball. This is what you want. Now, yeah, you got your teams at the bottom. Now, Portland is not tanking. Portland is not trying to tank. Neither is San Antonio. Wemby is out, and De'Aaron Fox is out and injured as well. If both your stars are out, just start looking towards the lottery and see what you can get. I have no issue with that. Both of your stars are out for the year. You're not going to compete in this league with 2 stars out. It's not going to happen. But they're still playing hard. San Antonio Spurs, New Orleans Pelicans, definitely out, and the Utah Jazz are way out and have been for a while. So altogether, this is why I watch basketball starting in March. March Madness kicks off basketball for me, and then the NBA playoffs will carry it a little bit. When it gets to, when it comes down to like the Eastern Conference Finals and Western Conference Finals, when you've got these big breaks between the games, I don't like it as much. But just like weekend number 1 of March Madness, I love round 1 of the NBA playoffs because you have so many games. You get to be engaged. And it's all games that matter. And that's what we all love as fans. We want games that matter. I absolutely love it. This is when I get into basketball. It's football 90% of the year. Basketball is March, probably up until middle of May. Obviously, tomorrow, we'll talk about it here in a second, opening day for baseball. So, with that comes a whole new fresh thing, and then I won't really watch baseball till September, but that's when I start watching football again. So it doesn't really work. All right, let's go over the Boston Celtics and Phoenix Suns real fast. Currently, 82-63 in favor of the Boston Celtics. Al Horford, 16 points. Porzingis, 17 points. Jaylen Brown, 16 points. No Tatum tonight. Tatum is actually out. They announced that earlier in the day. For the Suns, Durant's got 22. Devin Booker's got 11. The Celtics are shooting 50% from the floor, and the Suns are shooting 44%. And that's the difference in the game. It's really that simple. All right, let's spend a couple of minutes, and let's talk about some of the games tomorrow. So opening day, and for those of you that like to do fun bets, so I want to be very clear. When I do quote-unquote bets, it is fun bets. I don't bet with my own money. I really don't. I do not bet with my own money. I play with money that I have doing different things. I do not play with my work money, and I do a bunch of $1 bets. When I tell you that I played a bet, it's a $1 bet, basically like the penny slots at, a casino. So, tomorrow, the opening game is going to be the Milwaukee Brewers and the New York Yankees. Of course. Here's the thing. That's the right game to be the opening game. And it's the right time at 3 o'clock in the afternoon so that you can get everybody that's going to be getting off work to be able to watch the end of the game. The nightcap is then the Detroit Tigers and the Los Angeles Dodgers. And then we got the 2 out west games. The Cubs are at Arizona and the Athletics are at Seattle. Full slate tomorrow. So let me just run down the slate really quickly. I'm just going to give you the games tomorrow, and that's it. We're just going to give you who's playing. The Brewers are at the Yankees. The Orioles are at Toronto. Phillies at the Nationals. Red Sox are at the Rangers. Pittsburgh Pirates play the Miami Marlins. The San Francisco Giants play the Reds. The Los Angeles Angels play the Chicago White Sox. Cleveland Guardians play the Kansas City Royals. The New York Mets are in Houston to play the Astros. The Atlanta Braves play the San Diego Padres in what could be a postseason matchup preview. The Minnesota Twins are in St. Louis to play the Cardinals. Tigers, like I said, play the Dodgers. Cubs are at Arizona. And the Oakland Athletics, who will be probably moving to Las Vegas, play the Seattle Mariners. That is the slate for tomorrow. I will tell you right now, My pick, and this is what I actually have sitting somewhere, I am predicting and I am betting that the Dodgers will break the regular season win total. Tomorrow night, I may actually go through what I did because I bet all the divisions and the wins. How many wins I thought some of the teams would get. Not each team, but some teams would get. So I will probably actually do that tomorrow night. That'll be a fun thing to do. Opening day, what do I think is going to happen through the entire year? I do play fantasy baseball, so every once in a while I will throw that in. So there is that. Opening day of Major League Baseball, to me, ushers in spring. Today, you can probably tell, my face is a little red. It was high UV rays today, and I was outside most of the day. Doing yard work. Like I said, I'm on, vacation this week with spring break. And we got some really good yard work done. Had the fire pit going. Got work done around the yard. It was a really productive day. We made it the best day we could. I got some sun. I am definitely tired. No doubt about that. But looking forward to tomorrow. Because you know what? Tomorrow, I'm turning this on and we're going to watch some baseball tomorrow. It's opening day. Nobody knows what's going to happen. I don't pick winners and losers this early. It's just who I want to have win. There's no predictions this early. Teams are normally really, really rough in March and especially April. Until you get to May where the weather truly warms up, you're just flipping a coin on who's going to win. But either way, I am excited about tomorrow, and I think it's going to be an absolute blast. All right, that is it for March 26th, nightly recap. I appreciate each one of you guys hanging out. If you're on YouTube, make sure to subscribe. This is obviously Thursday morning for you, so make it a absolutely fantastic Thursday. For those of you on Twitch, this is obviously Wednesday night. Have a great night, and also make it the best day you can tomorrow on Thursday. I'll be back tomorrow night. We'll recap MLB opening day. And hey, we'll see what happens. See if there's any drama from day one. I'm sure there will be. Until tomorrow night, guys, I appreciate each and every single one of you. Please subscribe if you're on YouTube. Make sure to like the podcast. I deeply appreciate it. For Sports Talk with Hawk on this beautiful Wednesday evening, I'm Hawk, and I'm out. Have a great night, guys.